Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. Long before the coronavirus, America was as polarized as I can recall in my lifetime. Even this pandemic, unlike previous disasters, which pulled people together, is also polarizing. Those urging first flattening the medical curve, and others feeling the cost is too great, that is, long-term steepening of the economic curve. Fair-minded consideration of diverse views is central to solving problems, indeed, central to a civilized society's continuation. To that end, I recently shared with you a debate on the primacy of the medical versus economic coronavirus curves, inviting readers to ask themselves if they were able to remain fair-minded in considering both positions. Well, yesterday I had a conversation that illuminated another core difference among people. Primarily intellectual people versus primarily feeling and spiritually centered people. I hope that my sharing a paraphrase of that conversation for you right now is going to provide another opportunity for you to self-assess your openness to differing but responsibly held positions. I've tried to reproduce her core words and phrases verbatim. The spiritualist says, in deciding wisely, it's all about the feeling, the cosmic feeling. Otherwise, you're tone deaf to what really matters. The rationalist says, so for you, analysis and factual knowledge are secondary? Right. Wise decision-making is ultimately fostered by the divine, the spirit within us that recognizes our interconnectedness on the planet. We are of one. But isn't rational analysis a necessary prerequisite to good decisions, even those based on gut, and certainly not based on some spiritual deity? I'm not saying there's a deity, some omniscient, omnipotent, anthropomorphic entity guiding us from the heavens. I'm saying that decision-making's primary driver should be love, the spirituo-ethical. That's the goddess within each of us. My God within me says that decisions can be wise only through solid a priori thinking and often analysis of data. Can you really dismiss that approach? Think of all the bad decisions that rational analysis has yielded. How many drugs passed a decade of rational and empirical analysis and ended up having more side effects than main effects, let alone that were cost-effective? If the guiding principle were cosmic caution rather than the hyper-rational, let alone its profit potential, which leads to cutting corners, we'd be healthier. And that's not a mere abstraction. Every human life foreshortened means unnecessary pain, deprivation of life's beauties, and family and friends bereft. So if you had your way, you would elongate drug development from the already long decade and billions of dollars? Of course, there's no perfect prediction, but we must think probabilistically. You place too much faith in prediction. It fails, even with something as circumscribed as picking which stocks will go up. Do you recall the study that found that financial experts did no better than monkeys? Stock picking is much more difficult than you imply. It implies analysis so accurate, so prescient, that it beats the collective wisdom of the world's investors, which is what a stock's current price represents. Let me ask you a question. If there were two parallel worlds, one relied primarily on the spiritual and gut feeling, the other world on rational reasoning based on a priori thinking and data, don't you think the latter would yield greater net happiness? No. Those high IQ people you so admire include Jonestown's Jim Jones, drug kingpin Pablo Escobar, Theranos' Elizabeth Holmes, and Ted Kaczynski the Unabomber, who graduated from Harvard at 16. Cherry picking isn't valid. The definitive study of genius, Terman's so-called termites, who had an average IQ of 151 and were studied from childhood, found at midlife, 70 of them earned listings in American Men of Science and 3 were elected to the National Academy of Sciences. 10 had entries in the Directory of American Scholars, and 31 appeared in Who's Who in America. Nearly 2,000 scientific and technical papers and articles, and some 60 books and monographs in the sciences, literature, arts, and humanities have been published. Patents granted amount to at least 230. Other writings include 33 novels, about 375 short stories, novelettes, and plays, 60 or more essays, critiques, and sketches, and 265 miscellaneous articles on a variety of subjects. The figures on publications don't include the hundreds of publications by journalists that classify as news stories, editorials, or newspaper columns, nor do they include the hundreds, if not thousands, of radio, television, and motion picture scripts. Every bone in my body feels that intellect is overrated and heart is underrated. We all come to conversations with a deeply held set of values, core values. If major problems are to be solved, if friendships other than the clonal are to be made and sustained, we must listen better and be more open-minded to intelligent, responsibly held positions other than our own. That's easier said than done, but it's not hyperbolic to assert that the future of the world may depend on it. I thank you for watching. I'm Marty Nemko. I welcome your thumbs up and accept your thumbs down. I always look forward to your comments. I especially like it if you hit the share button below and share on your social media so that my efforts can have broader impact. And I'm flattered if you choose to subscribe to my channel. And in any event, I do thank you for watching. I am Marty Nemko.